Hey Bethlehem, welcome. It's Pastor Matt, and I am so excited to announce to you that on October 4th, that's October 4th, we are going to be doing some of our first indoor worship services again. I know we have not been inside the sanctuary doing worship since February, if you can believe it or not. So I know a lot of us are chomping at the bit to get in there. So I wanted to go over a few things that are going to be important as we get ready to experience an indoor worship service. Number one, indoor worship does not mean we will stop doing virtual. We will continue to do virtual. In fact, virtual is a really important part of our Bethlehem church community. So we consider our virtual campus just that, a virtual campus. So moving forward, we will have virtual service and indoor service. We're going to find a way to merge the two, and we'll give you more details on that as it comes. But just know, if you're not comfortable coming inside, you will still have a high quality virtual worship experience that is happening every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. so that you can experience that. Now, if you are coming indoors, this is really important. We have to keep in mind that coming indoors is not just about what we're comfortable with, but it's about our neighbor as well. You know, as Christians, we're called to love and serve our neighbor. And sometimes we think about that in big ways like food pantries and big acts of service, but we need to realize that's also true in the small ways. So when you come out to worship, I want you to think about how you can serve your neighbor. So what is your neighbor comfortable with when it comes to space? What's your neighbor comfortable with when it comes to wearing a mask? So here's what we're going to do in order to make everybody comfortable and to serve our neighbor well in worship. We're going to ask you to register. And when we say ask you to register, registration is required. There are multiple reasons for that, but mostly because as we go to the indoor space, we want to make sure everybody's safe and we have a record of who worshiped indoors. So when you come out, you'll have a chance to pre-register online on the Bethlehem Church Live mobile app or on our website at bethlehemchurch.live. You can register there. If you come out and you haven't registered, we'll have a kiosk for you that you'll have to stop in and register when you come in. When you come through the doors of the church, masks are required. So what does that mean? It means when you come through the front doors of the church, you have to be wearing a mask. And you have to wear a mask the entire time you're inside for worship. And I know everybody has a different opinion on this, but the reality is this: masks are required for worship. If you're not wearing a mask, you won't be able to worship inside. Remember, we want to keep our neighbor in mind. Can you go through a whole worship service with a mask? Absolutely. Trust me. If people can work out in a mask, we can worship in a mask. So these will be required. If you forget your mask, we will have a few disposable masks for you, but that will be yours to take home, and then please throw that away when you're done. So what else do we need to keep in mind? Well, when you come out to worship and you've registered and you have your mask on, when you come to worship, the ushers will take you to a specific seat. We've spaced out our sanctuary so that social distancing is happening during the worship experience. So when you arrive, the ushers will tell you which row and which seat to sit in. If you haven't been quarantined, there will only be 3 max to a pew. A family can sit together in a pew and all the pews will be spaced out. We'll have a seating chart that the ushers will mark to make sure that you're in the right spot. But I know you might have a favorite seat when you come out to worship, but moving forward for indoor worship for this season, you'll have to sit in whichever seat the ushers assign to you. Now, we have a limit on how many people can worship in the space, and if you say, well, what happens if too many people show up? We do have overflow seating. So once the sanctuary fills up, if you show up and the sanctuary is full, we'll have overflow seating in the parlor and even potentially the gym. So those will be places that you can worship. So right now we're going to start with one worship service. We'll do one worship service at 9 a.m. every single Sunday. And then as people get more comfortable coming indoor, we'll grow our worship experiences from there. But for right now, we just wanted to focus on doing one worship experience well. So if you have any questions about worship or how you're going to need to come out, please feel free to reach out to us. We can't wait to join you indoors. It's going to be fun to worship inside the sanctuary again, but please worship where you're most comfortable. If you're comfortable coming inside, feel free to worship inside. If you're only comfortable staying in virtual worship, stay in virtual worship. Listen, wherever you are worshiping, the presence and the Spirit of God is there, and we are together in church community. And God will move powerfully, whether you're at home virtually or whether you're here in person. So thanks, guys. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.